Okay, this is just a little me debunking some falsehoods that I just read. There's so many of these online that I got so tired of it that I couldn't help myself. I just had to get on here, and I just want to kind of set the record straight. There's so many of these. This particular one will be in the that was in the title. Um, is a guy that is from another faith, but trying to tell what the Mormons believe, that being the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, on a subject. Now, this is going to be scriptures from the D&C, 84, 1 through 5, and then D&C 124, 49 through 53. So this guy's studied up a lot on the Mormons to try to say how that our church is false. By just a misdirection, or he just he didn't study enough, I guess. He uses the answers of lay members to because of their responses to his questions, and because it's not, see, this is like deeper doctrine, and not everybody is going to know the answers to this. In fact, if somebody was to ask me on the street without me being prepared, I wouldn't. It's akin to asking some kid in let's say the Catholic faith, hey, what happens when in purgatory? And they might not know what the answer to that question is, even though there is doctrinal stuff that they have on the subject. So he's used responses from lay members to prove his point of as if they're experts. Okay, so none of his questions were to apostles or prophets or anybody with knowledge that you could say, oh, look, this is really bad, because it's not. In fact, like I said, I could be caught off guard and answer the way some of these members were, like, well, maybe generation refers to like a, a longer period of time, or maybe a generation refers to dispensation. I might say some of those things, because when you know the church is true, you don't have all the little details of what anybody in any church is not going to know all of their history, and there's a lot of church history. Even some of the church historians have made errors in the historical record, because back in the 1800s we didn't have computers, and things were passed on incorrectly sometimes, and the church is trying to correct those errors as quickly as they can, because in today's age of information with the internet, you can get to the bottom of things a lot quicker. But just as easy as you can read these incorrect articles about our church, I wanted to put forth an answer to it, even though I am just a lay member myself. I have no authority from the church, my church, to do this, and I might say some incorrect things in here. So I'm not. This is not an official church, but I just personally get irritated when people from other faiths want to say how another church is untrue, and then they use this weird logic to try to make it so. Um, I think that if you want to become a Catholic, you go to the Catholics. If you want to become a Baptist, you go to the Baptists. If you want to become a Mormon, you go to the Mormons. If you want to become a Mormon, you don't go to this guy who's a different religion, who's trying to tell you what we believe, I guess, or he just wants to say that we're not true based on some things. Basically, his misinterpretation, and you have to I don't want to get into reading every single scripture, but the second set of scriptures, D&C 124, 49 through 53, I'll read just a part of that. Actually, no, it was the other one where it was the, let's see what that reference was. Sorry. Oh yeah, it was the first one. DNC 84 1 through 5. 4 reads, "Verily, this is the word of the Lord, that the new city Jerusalem shall be built by the gathering of the saints, beginning at this place, even the place of the temple, which temple shall be reared in this generation." Okay, so um, he just didn't read that scripture clearly, and it's so simple. He's spent like, I don't know, 10 pages trying to decipher the words, and he just has totally missed the point. It is well known in our church that there will be a gathering to Missouri. Now, here's the kicker. You could ask some kids or even new members of the church that might never have heard of that. That's very quite possible. It's not a secret. It's just there's a lot of things in religion to learn. And so if you haven't studied, or you're just trying to be righteous and live a Christ-like life, you might not know all the details. You can pray to know that certain things are true and know that you belong to the true church, which, when I gained a testimony of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I had an answer to prayer, but I definitely didn't know all the details of the church. That's come as I've studied and learned more. And yes, that has made my testimony stronger and stronger as I've learned, because then I know the reasons or the answers to why it is true. So let me give you the answer to this very simply. I just read it, and what I was going to tell you is about that gathering to Missouri. That's well known, not secret, in our church. But, it's not something we're going to talk about every day. It has to do with the second coming of Christ. And yeah, Revelations talks about it. And we talk about it from time to time, but it's not a subject. When you're trying to live righteously, you're not going to be talking about the end of days all the time. The topic does come up. But anyways, there is going to be a gathering to Missouri, and that's something that we believe. And we don't know all the details of that because it hasn't been revealed yet, how that's going to happen or when it's going to happen. But it's a future event. Okay, so when you read it again, let's see if I can find it. The New Jerusalem shall be built upon this by the gathering of the saints beginning at this place. That gathering has not taken place yet. And so that generation of people that just hasn't occurred. So that's why the temple's not built. Those people haven't even done that gathering yet. He missed that scripture and he didn't explain it. He went to the other scriptures and tried to disprove it, which is just entirely false. The truth is that gathering hasn't taken place. That temple will be built, and it will be in the generation of those people that have the gathering to that place in Missouri. So, because that's a future event, it hasn't happened. And his logic in trying to debunk that, which he spent 10 pages doing, or I don't know how many pages, I didn't look, but he spent a long time. I was like, wow, I couldn't even read it all. It was getting like, I was getting restless just reading it. So I just was like, this is ridiculous. Basically, it's something that hasn't happened yet. We're talking about a gathering of people that hasn't happened, and that generation of people hasn't even begun. That temple will be built, and I just hope that helps somebody that might have been confused about this article. If it helps you, great. I hope it did. There's simple answers to all these false things. These things have been going on since the 1800s. It's just that now we have the internet. It's easy to reread these same things. The church has been the same and is still true. It's just that now there's the internet, so we have to re-explore the debunking of all this. See, all these anti-Mormon claims are resurfacing on the internet because it's a new medium in order to do that. So I figured, you know what? Even though I'm not authorized by the church to do any of this stuff, I personally am irritated by it. I thought, you know what? I'm going to start giving a few debunkings of all this stuff because there's simple debunking to all of it. And I just want you to know that if you don't believe the first thing you read. And I will continue to go through these false things that I see on the internet and try to debunk them. And I'll try to title them so it will go next to these articles that are false. But if this helps you, I hope it does. And if it helps you in your quest to draw closer to Jesus Christ, that's the goal, and to live his gospel and live righteously. And if it helps you, and granted, I haven't talked about that kind of stuff, but I just don't want this to be you to be misled by false stuff. So I hope it helps. Thanks.